The first speaker we're going to have is going to be Terri Blackmore from the North Front Range Metropolitan Planning Organization. And Terry's really talking about Colorado growth will continue from her perspective and will we be ready? So she's going to be sharing her thoughts on what transportation options we'll need for a successful future. So please help me welcome Terri.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to start by acknowledging that many of these photos are from the city of Fort Collins. Just get that off right first, because many of these came from the Flickr site. So, by 2040, there will be over 259,000 people living in Fort Collins alone. That's an 80% increase from today. So, by 2030, 26% of the households in the North Front Range, which includes a little bit more than Fort Collins, will be headed by someone over the age of 65. That's a huge change. So, what does that mean for where we're going to go? Fort Collins has a lot of amenities besides the mountains, which is why people are coming to Fort Collins. So what are right up close? Yeah, I told you this would be a problem. So, because we have these great features, protecting those features and providing easy access for all those who want to live here is not going to be easy. Population presents benefits and challenges. The aging population provides a great wealth of knowledge and a resource that has the time to be engaged, helping them stay active by providing transportation options is going to be critical. Young professionals are the other largest group of the population that's going to be here in Fort Collins, but they are not a uniform group. They're often called millennials, but they're not uniform. Young professionals want options. They want options in transportations, job choices, entertainment choices. Thank you, that's helpful. They also want options in housing. They don't all want to live downtown. Some of them want to live in houses, and some of them want to live in the suburbs. Then we get back to the needs of the aging population. A 40-year-old's night vision begins to diminish and requires 3 times as much light at night to drive as a 20-year-old. By the time a person reaches the age of 60, you need 8 times as much light to drive at night. Sorry, I just need to put my slides. In order to be able to keep the aging population driving, the city of Fort Collins is going to have to invest in other infrastructure as well. Stop signs need to be 36 inches instead of 30 inches. Signal heads will need to be 14 inches in size instead of 10 inches. You can't really see the difference, but it makes a huge difference in being able to see. You also need to invest in a more highly reflective signs. Vehicles will also help keep the aging population drivers. Smarter vehicles will help us stay in the lane and notify us of front crashes, and also help us with back crashes. Smarter vehicles also help us park and also help us change lanes. And perhaps in the future, cars might also drive us. But they are going to require investments. We may have to invest in infrastructure to have these cars drive us around. Or they may have to require satellite GPS, which may not be available if the satellites go down. The other thing that may be really important is transit. Until then, if cars are not driving us, transit will be critical, but we have to invest in it. Fort Collins is very fortunate to have residents and leaders that support transit. Keeping seniors active is critical, and keeping them involved, members of the community, we need to keep them moving about. Another issue for Fort Collins is the impacts of the rail. I'm sure everyone here who lives in Fort Collins has been stuck at a train crossing. It impacts our ability to get to the hospital. It impacts people's ability to get across town, to be on time for appointments. Fort Collins is submitting a tiger grant to build a grade separated crossing at LeMay and Vine. Hopefully that will help eliminate one of the impacts of the crossing. We have 2 switching yards in the city of Fort Collins. These are huge impacts for the city of Fort Collins. Another option for trying to address people's ability to get around is van go. My agency happens to run a van pooling program that gets people into and out of Fort Collins. We currently operate 73 vans with 400 riders. This helps with congestion. It takes vehicles off the roads. Every van that has 6 riders takes 5 vehicles off the road. It reduces fuel use, congestion, and emissions. But this is not going to be enough to address the congestion in the future if population continues to grow in Fort Collins. We're also putting together a regional transit recommendation. Regional transit is going to be important. It cannot just be transit at Fort Collins. Flex is a great start, but more regional transit will take leadership beyond Fort Collins, and it's going to take the surrounding communities working with Fort Collins to get this off the ground. Beginning in 2016, Flex will travel to Boulder, and that's going to be paid for by Dr. Cobb, which is communities down in the Denver area. The region's transit providers, Cole, which is in Loveland, Get, Greeley, and Transbar, are all moving to have the same payment system. So they are making small steps to try and have the systems work together. The recommendation that we're putting together is looking to look at how we can get the communities having service between communities, because if we have a need for people to live or work in the communities that aren't living here, that's going to be a problem. Right now, Fort Collins has about 55 to 60% of the people who live in Fort Collins also work in Fort Collins. That's the highest percentage of any in the entire North Front Range. Most of the communities only have about 22% of their residents working in the same community. So that's a huge bonus here, which means you don't have as much commuting as a lot of communities. But by 2040, you'll have an additional 34,000 jobs here. Will there be enough housing here for those 34,000 employees to live here? So if you don't have that same percentage of employees living here, how will they get to work? Will Fort Collins be walkable enough? Will transit be the answer? Will we have enough regional transit? Will every road need to be widened? As you can see, I've got a picture of Harmony Road here. Recently, there were 287 homes approved in Timnett, or in Wellington, and 234 homes approved in Timnett. If every home has 2 workers, that adds an additional about 1,000 cars on Harmony coming into Fort Collins. I don't think that Fort Collins wants that type of congestion, so you're going to have to think about how you're going to manage the growth that's coming, because it is coming. How Fort Collins handles the additional population and employees is going to make a difference. If there's not affordable places for these new residents to live, there will need to be new transportation of some sort. More regional transit, more safer biking opportunities, or widening more congested roads may be the option. The choice will impact Fort Collins' quality of life. So, thank you.